he could be the number one option, get 28 minutes a game. Uh, Aaron could go in and register everybody else as a ghost. 'Cause I think pretty
Yeah.
much their whole team is
And
ghosts.
and really,
Um,
to be honest,
and
if you look at the teams,
they can.
go ahead,
Mhm.
gamers. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Go
Oh
ahead.
no, you're fine. I did that long pause thing. Like everyone says, man, you paused so long. I thought you were finished. No, you're right. I was just saying. He could go to Virginia. He could play the two guard, play 28 minutes with 30 minutes, however many minutes he wants, and Virginia can still tank the rest of the season and end up with a great pick. And then, like you said, Ingram and Raymond build around them,
Hmm.
and you've already got all-star caliber, in my opinion, type of shooting guard. You got Aaron Hughes, who just with the one or two tweaks, he can be back to being your all-around point guard that you need.
Hmm.
And then you got buckets there that oh snap! So Virginia doesn't even have a
I was
pick.
gonna let you finish, and I
Yeah.
was gonna say
Oh
it.
snap!
But
But
Virginia
you
doesn't
beat
even
me to
have
it.
a
but
pick.
check this out though.
So
Let's think of this though. Let's think of this as we are Greg Lake though. So let's think of it in Greg Lake's shoes for a second.
hmm
Greg Lake's not gonna want to go to Virginia. I don't
hmm
think he would if I don't think he would even entertain going to Virginia. That's what
hmm
I think. So it's gonna come down to two teams. It's gonna come down to New York or it's gonna come down to Michigan for me. Me
hmm
personally, I would go to New York. You got
hmm
Sarah Counterman. You can play
hmm
right there beside Ant Thomas at that two, or move
Uh,
Ant Thomas to the two and move Greg
but
Lake to the one.
that
New York might be the
takes.
best.
It's
But
the best team for him to score. I mean, but if Ant Thomas is the number one, well, we've talked about that before. Rayman will be the first to tell you they got that whole loyalty thing going on where
That's
it's
true.
like everybody's getting equal touches for some reason. But
Hmm.
it could work. Ingram, it's not a bad idea. Put him on New York. They are
but
guard heavy already, so they could send a guard away, get
Hmm.
maybe send another piece and get a forward. Um, they need rebounding. They need defense. Marciano is doing everything he can to get rebounds, but he's just so light that he's just getting pushed around in the paint.
Yeah.
Um, they need to get rid of Ivory. I know that they're trying to get rid of Ivory. Maybe I don't know if I busted open a can of worms, but I know they're trying to move Ivory. Because that just doesn't work. It just doesn't work when you have an ISO player paired with someone like Ant Thomas who needs the ball to
Hmm.
get up 20 shots a game. It just doesn't work.
Right.
mm-hmm.
But
So, and Great Lake is the same type of way. If you put him at the one, I don't know if he has the dishing ability to not, or the tendencies to not just shoot it every time. It's like,
yeah. But
but
the thing
go
is
ahead.
though, with Greg Lake, I don't think nobody's going to take a chance on trading anybody to
Mhm,
Atlantic City for
mhm.
Greg Lake because the guy has already let it be known if you trade for me, I'm not
Well,
re-signing with your team. So why would a team jump to
The,
trade for somebody who they're not going to get to retain for the next season
the
possibly?
only the only way I can see that working is if it's a team that is competing, who doesn't need, they want to chip this year, they don't need Greg Lake next year. It'd be
Hmm.
nice. Only way I could see any of this working is potentially if he were to go to a team like Baltimore, a
But who
team
would
that
Baltimore give away though?
doesn't that I don't know. Knowing Luke, he would probably give away something that can be able to convince the other team that they're getting the steal and turn it
Hmm.
into a lose lose negotiation. I can see Greg Lake in Baltimore. He could be like an injection of offense for them. He wouldn't have to worry about guarding. Baltimore's defense is stacked enough that they can guard with or without him, type of thing.
Hmm.
And um, they can flex Riggins minutes and turn and flex his touches, and that would be scary. Greg
Hmm.
Lake in Baltimore. I could also see him like on a team like Vice City, who isn't very guard focused. They're more forward focused, and so you inject a pure scoring guard in there. Um, and you've got an upgrade in my opinion over what kind of how you're handling the guard role in Vice City because I mean they want to get it to their forwards, but now you have this extra shooting ability that can I mean that would do wonders for Vice City, but like you said, then there's the extra part of that clause. He's already said he's not going to resign. So there, I don't know. It's either got to be a team that's competing in the hunt that just needs him, just needs the rental. Like you just rent the fancy, beautiful car. It's your birthday weekend. You just want to show out, and then you return it. I don't know.
Right.
I
Just
still think Lake can be somebody's number one.
I do too. I think he's sadly backed himself into a very, very bad corner. I mean, he did everything right in Atlantic City. He upped his trade value, but there's just no way for any team. It's just you can't get an equal trade value for that. So Atlantic City is going to have to take a loss, and the team that Greg Lake gets traded to is going to have to take a loss by him not re-signing. So you're pretty much getting him for 5 games, and like Shane is saying, just Greg has proved time and time again that he cannot be the number one option. I think with a few tendency changes, which means he would have to let go this whole ego thing and actually be open to being coached. But a few tendency changes and a really, really proper development plan,
Right.
he could be the number one option. But there's holes in this game that are overlooked because of his scoring ability. And like this season, we're only seeing him in limited minutes, so we're really not getting to see those big stretches of lapses that you know are there. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you completely, Shane.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
definitely put himself into a bind by being the character he is. I think he's a great guy. I know what it's like to be in a league and you want to be the star, so to speak. But sometimes people get that confused with just trying to score a lot of points. I think you got to be able to be more multifaceted than that. So
Yeah.
anyway, the whiskey's talking. So go ahead, Ingrid.
Hey, it's all good. So moving forward here, we getting ready to start back up the second half of the season here. So we're gonna go into some predictions here for the games that's getting ready to come up. So let's get into it here. Don't have the slides this week. I do apologize about that. It's been a long weekend. But here we go here. So the first game of the week, we got the Oakland Otters versus the Seattle Orcas starting us off Monday. Who y'all got starting off with Rayman?
Hmm. You know what? This one you could have slid right on by because I am gonna sit and go with the same dogs that I go with the same week. It's them Seattle Orchids. I believe Seattle is the contenders and the pretenders is Oakland
Ooh.
for this week. And Seattle, I think Seattle defensively is going to shut down what Oakland likes to do or what Oakland wants to do. They're gonna either take away Clank or they're gonna take away Stank. That kind of rhymes, you know that Clank and Stank.
Got
Um,
bars.
they're gonna take away one of the two.
Bars.
They're gonna take away one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see Seattle being beaten,
Mm.
by Oakland at this point of the season.
Okay,
You
game.
know, Oakland's still just one game right, not Oakland, but Seattle's still just one game behind the Martians.
Right?
So
That's what I said.
when you got to keep up with the
Mm.
Joneses,
You have to keep winning.
the Jones, like you just said, Joneses
Mm.
keep winning.
Yeah.
So Seattle would keep winning to keep up with the Joneses.
Gamers, who you got?
I like Seattle, but having KT on the show last week, I think, uh, opened my mind a little bit that they are actively working to get things back to how they were. And I don't know if they can, they're saying Clink Thomas is way better than what they had last year. That might be a stretch, I mean, I do think Thompson is well on his way to winning Rookie of the Year. He still has a little bit more to go defensively, but I think if they can get back to what makes Oakland, what made Oakland Oakland last season, I could see them winning this in a very, very close game, kind of like how the reverse of the Portland Oakland game last time around, where Portland kind of snuck it out at the end. I do think Seattle is the better team, I guess. I don't. It's just one of those things. I haven't seen Seattle beat Oakland yet. Um, I don't think they got them last season, and I don't know. They have the ability to. It just sometimes certain teams just have your number. I think Oakland is gonna get Seattle, and it's gonna start this whole jump to help Oakland try to make the playoffs. So we'll see. I'm gonna go with Oakland. Sorry, Shane.
Hey, well, let me say this here. Give me 1 second.
Uh-oh. You gotta be getting the sound ready or something.
Sorry about that. Nah. I ain't getting the sound ready. But you got Oakland coming in here, only won one game. You got Seattle on a 4-game winning streak going into
That's true.
All-Star break.
That's true.
You got Oakland, who is pretty good shooting the three, and you got Seattle, who has been dominating in the paint the last few games, which is what got them to the win. And that's basically showed off of what their percentage is, 60% from 2-point, and I'm pretty sure shooting 2-point shots, and I'm pretty sure most of those is in the paint. And then you got them rebounding about 35 rebounds in a game, and they're doing good. They got about 30 assists right now per game, and I'm pretty sure most of them is lobs inside the paint.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle,
yeah, a little lob that Seattle likes to run.
Yeah, Seattle is a very good paint team, so I think it's going to be a very good paint team versus a very good 3-point team. But Oakland don't shoot a really high percentage of 3-pointers, and I don't think that Oakland is a good enough team to beat Seattle punch for punch in the paint. I'm going to say Seattle is probably going to score about 70 points again in the paint, and I'm definitely going to say that Seattle is going to win it based off of that, because I just don't see Oakland stopping that bread and butter in the paint. I mean, Seattle has been unstoppable the last few weeks with that same play in the paint. So I got to take Seattle on this one.
Hey, see, and this is where we need our little records and everything.
Right.
I'm telling you, I just feel I'm hot this week.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree with Shane. I think Seattle is the best at using their bigs. I was doing a snub article that I decided to not do, because it didn't look very good on the league. But I was actually very surprised that not one of Seattle's 3 bigs made it on any type of all-star voting list. I was very confused by that.
Yeah.
I think they need to have a different type of system. I mean, go for impact over just plain efficiency or whatever, because Seattle uses their bigs extremely, extremely well. They all do different things in different ways, and but I don't know, man. I don't want to keep hammering my point. I think right now Oakland is figuring out things. KT said it. It sounds like she's back to helping out with game planning, because I know that she stepped away for a small part of the season, and it showed, I think. But I think I think Oakland's going to go with their big lineup. I think they're going to protect the paint. I think they're going to force Seattle to shoot, which Seattle can do. The thing is Oakland's length. You have Stank, you have Clank, you have Adinaf. Those are all 6'7", 6'8" range type of guards, forwards that can get out there on the 3-point line and give someone like Odin, give someone like Wulong Chi fits. Even though they're protecting the paint, they got a hand in their face now all of a sudden because you got someone who's 6'7" with a freaking 7-foot wingspan coming out of nowhere. And Seattle can shoot the three now.
Yeah.
So, but Oakland can shoot the three too. And
Hmm.
I think it'll be a good game. I think this is kind of what we've been wanting in the season is these type of matchups late in the year. Everything matters so much right now. Because like I said, every team in the Pacific Division is in a very crucial spot. I mean, with the amount of divisional matchups that are left, you have a chance to go from fourth to first, first to fourth if you don't play your cards right or you do play your cards right. So,
Yeah.
which you'll see.
Yep.
Indeed. So let's go on to the next game here, 9:30 Monday. We got the Martians and the
Oh,
Pioneers. So gamers, I think it's pretty safe to say who we're gonna go for here. So we're gonna let Rayman take this one.
I'm yeah, I'm not gonna vote. I can kind of give some ideas on our game plan. I don't want to give too much away, but um, we know that Portland likes to kind of run at a slower pace. I always got to be prepared for them to do the exact opposite of what you think they're going to do, of course. But I just think that's been Portland's bread and butter.
Hmm.
Puff, Rayshawn Carter. I was surprised he didn't make the All Star roster as well. He kind of got snubbed. He's having a very efficient year at the small forward position, but they're also flexing him a little bit at the power forward. They've got a very, very good classic type of Pacific Division type of team. They want to play defense. They have a very imposing big man. You know, they have rebounding type of forwards, and then their guards are going to kind of set the tone, set the pace. Um,
Yeah.
oh, and Shane is right. We forgot about the new playbook requirements and the minute allocation things where
Oh
they've
yeah.
changed up the minutes. So now you have to have what 22 minutes is the minimum,
Yeah. So let's go to
something
that
like
real.
that.
Let's go to that real quick. Let's stop the
Mhm.
let's start the predictions real quick and let's talk
Okay,
about it here.
okay.
Let me see if I can find it here. So, um, going into effect after the All Star break, the touch minimum is going from 40 to 50. Player
Wow.
minimum is going from 20 to 22. We're
Okay.
reducing the maximum amount of minutes from 30 to 28, and the ghost
Okay.
minutes are being reduced from I believe 15 to 10 minutes. And also they're
Wow.
adding a requirement for advanced rotations made up of 4-minute chunks for each player at the, for each player at a time.
Hmm.
Allowing player touches to be set from anywhere from 50 to 100, removing the limits associated with touches. And this was approved by the owners of the
Wow.
league. So what do y'all think about that? What are y'all thinking about these changes coming out of All Star break?
Um, I don't mind it.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously, I think they're trying to force people to start reporting the goals, but um, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how I feel about it. I like our team. We've had issues kind of trying to figure out how to get the minutes to work the right way,
Hmm.
just because of how we wanted our rotations to work.
Hmm.
So by the 4-minute blocks being there, yeah, it's a give or take. I mean, we know how 2K is. It chooses weird times to call timeouts, and so sometimes you miss a rotation. So this will kind of force those rotations to happen, regardless.
Yeah.
Touch minimum, I like that because I mean teams are, I guess, trying to have certain players come in and never get anything called for them.
Hmm.
So at least this way, it's a bit more balanced and um but I don't know. Maybe the ghost minute thing is a little bit extreme. I think they should have kept it around 12 to 15, regardless. Because I mean, I don't know how many teams have ghost. I'm sure some of the teams at the bottom have a lot. I'm sure some teams at the top probably have one or two. But it just seems a little bit extreme. But I don't mind the rules because I know that they need to do something to just make it more standardized, and they'll probably play with it the rest of the season and then probably change it next season.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I agree. It does force teams to use their bench. Um, but in the same regard, I don't know. it's weird because we're forced to do 10-man rotations, whereas NBA they usually do 8. But I don't think it would be fair to do an 8-man rotation in this league where people are paying money to they would just be sitting on the bench, which would be very unfair.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't mind it. I like that the committees are trying to get stuff done, I guess.
Yeah, Ray, man, what you think?
Well, I'm not gonna say I like the touches part. You
Mm.
know, don't really like not the touches, not the touches. The reducing the minutes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, not this late in the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody's going on their own type of flow and
Right.
everything. So reducing it could hurt a team. Reducing it could help a team. But I see more hurt than help.
Right.
Especially when you talk about your clutch shooters when you're down,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
being in the game. So I don't know how much I like that, but I wouldn't go against the committee. If this is what would help the league, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Force the touches. You know, it's just like somebody can be on 100, and all of a sudden they're gonna pull a Kobe. All 5 guys gonna guard one player. You
Right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
just don't want to pass the ball.
Right.
But the touches and everything. You know, again, this is one way to get to a clutch shooter, be a clutch shooter. This is one way to
Right.
get everybody saying, "Hey, we need to win,"
Mm-hmm.
and I'm that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let me lead you out to the promised land.
Right.
And maybe you know some teams can benefit off that, using a one guy more than they use than the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a good time for somebody to say, "Hey, Demore, maybe we need to put you on 100 touches."
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe you can start really beasting down low.
Right.
You know, so I don't know. You know, it's it's got its pros and its cons,
Yeah.
but
Right.
I'm
I
all
agree.
for honestly what is going to help the league. The ghost minutes, I would have put it down to 5. You know, that's just me.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
know, if you're not paying, then you ain't playing. That's we all got to pay some type of way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but other than that, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah, definitely do too as well. I think I'm like you, Ray, man. I'm a little iffy about the change in the middle of the season as it is, but
Mm-hmm.
other than that, I think it's a good move, and I definitely you better than me because Ghost, I would have moved it to cannot play. Like they ride the bench the whole time, but 10 minutes is fine. I'm
Right.
gonna give them 10 minutes. I'm gonna give them at the tip, and then as soon as the tip is over, the first change of position, they gonna come out, and then I let them pay like 5. I
You
let them
just
pay
gonna
like 2 minutes,
let them
and
sit on the bench. You
yeah,
let them sit on the bench for 10 minutes, and then they can go back to the locker room.
that's right. There you go. That's it.
So they'll be
But
the
I
type
don't
of
know.
player. They'll
I
be the
mean,
type of player going into halftime. You give them that 1 minute so you can get a lead to the locker room.
Exactly. There you go. Right there.
kind of like what Shane is saying. I think it benefits. I think this is one of those things that benefits the coaches and the owners, where this is their main league and this is what they love doing.
Hmm.
It takes a lot of time doing game plans, and so I don't mind them making changes. I mean, I'm not one for the mid-season changes. I
Yeah.
mean, you already know how I feel about that, Ingram. It's like as soon as we figure out something that works, then they start making changes, and haha, look at Albuquerque. They shouldn't be doing this type of thing. So I'm still upset about the sliders getting changed mid-season, and this
Well,
whole,
to be
I don't know,
to
but
be fair though, that was only the 3-point slider, and it really
uh,
haven't affected us like that. To be
of
honest,
course
cause
not. But still,
we got a
just
three
just
point
just
shooting
the
team.
thought that I know it's
But I
hurt
That's
understand
because of
though.
still
the
an
cost,
All-Star
but
game.
Say what?
well, they said they
Oh, I didn't say
adjusted the
nothing.
sliders.
Oh no,
They
they
adjusted the
nuked it.
sliders for the All-Star
They
game.
nuked
They
it for the
said,
All Star game. They nuked the
Mm-hmm.
sliders.
Y'all did not show up.
we should be using those
Hey,
sliders
Peace
the
showed
rest of the
up.
season.
Peace showed up because Peace he hit all his threes. I was just sitting back and playing, my role, the floor general. I was just passing the ball and give it to who I needed to get it to so we can get the dub. So
Mm.
that was my role. I was just happy to be there.
That's it.
That's it.
That was it.
Man.
That was it. I was happy to be there. I got an extra incentive by my boys winning, but no, I was just happy to be in the All-Star game.
Yeah, but it is an honor to be there.
Yeah.
I was cheering for you the whole time. Like, come on, pass the ball. There you go, Engel. Go State, keep winning right now. Go State. That's what we look. That's what we looking for. So I was right there rooting for you.
Mm-hmm.
I was right there rooting for you. But the team I was actually going for, actually came, a couple of points shot at the game.
Mm-hmm. Stank opened up on them. Stank did stank things. Well, all right, moving forward though. So let's go back to the predictions here. So we was at the 9:30 game. Monday is going to be a great slate too. We got all the Pacific teams playing on Monday. It looks like. But Martians, Pioneers. Rayman, what you got for this one?
Man, it's Martians all day. I'm not gonna even play with this. I don't believe Portland has enough. Portland already, gas is right at halfway point right now. So I think they're gonna continue running out of gas, and sooner or later they're gonna be, broke down on the road asking for somebody for gas money. So I just don't think Portland got it up in them to match up against y'all.
Thank you.
I do predict, I'm going to go on a big prediction again here. Portland's Milton Francis Hinkle will get 4 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks. So that is a big win for Portland. So I'll leave it as like that.
Oh man.
I'll be damned if we let that big bald frog get 4 points.
If Hinkle get 4 points, I'm retiring.
Hey, let me win my fantasy basketball for a minute.
Man. All right. So we got Tuesday. We got the Sea Dogs in the Constellation at 8:30 on Tuesday. Gamers, who you got for this one?
I need a cigar break, man. I really like Atlantic City. I know Greg Lake is wanting out. But like Shane said, if you put on Protect the Paint, you deny ball on Tim Riggins, if you deny ball on Huxley, they have no answers. You're not going to get 30 points out of Jack Lawson. You're not going to get 30 points out of Jamal Davis. You're not going to get 30 points out of whoever else, Arthur Morgan. So I feel like, in a weird way, Atlantic City has more weapons than Baltimore. Now, let me go on the record. You have 2 of the best weapons in this league currently in Tim Riggins and Aldo Huxley.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't take them away completely. But like what we saw with Seattle, if you can just slow them down, Baltimore has no answers. You're gonna get points from Lawson. He's gonna go and make those little wraparound threes that he gets and can shoot 2 or 3 of them. You'll get Jamal Davis once or twice in the paint. You'll get Thomas LeClaire in that alley-oop play that they run all night. But there just isn't enough offense, in my opinion. If you can just slow them down. Their defense is how they win, and now they're starting to be shown that if you can kind of mix match things up right, you can get around their defense. We saw Seattle do it. Seattle forced them to guard in the paint, which you would think is Baltimore's strength with Jamal Davis and Thomas LeClaire down there, but they did not handle it well one bit. They did not handle it well one bit. Now That being said, Atlantic City doesn't have the paint presence that Seattle does,
Mm-hmm.
but they have a stretch 4, stretch 5, and Spider, who, if you can get Jamal Davis out of the paint, that opens up so much, which is what I think Atlantic City is going to do. Is they're going to figure out a way to get Jamal Davis out of the paint. He's going to stick with Spider or get lost in the switch, and then you have open lanes for Jarris. You have open lanes for someone like Bismack, Javier Munoz. You open up the lanes, you open up the floodgates, and I think Atlantic City is going to get Baltimore again, and it's going to start this run that they need to backdoor themselves into the playoffs somehow. Even though I said that about the last team that we were talking about.
Rayman?
I said it when we first started talking about it. I think this game got a lot of implications on it. I think Luke and Riggins, they had this game circled from day one and everything, and they've just been licking their chops just watching Atlanta City play. You know, so gamers, he brought out a great scenario on how to stop Baltimore. But when that do not work, how do you stop Baltimore?
That's true.
Because they're gonna have somebody that's gonna be the X factor and an unsung hero that's gonna step up in the game. And I'm looking at Baltimore right now, and I just don't see this being a good matchup just for Atlantic City. Like matchups wise, I can see Munez, I can see Ojeris, I can see Lake pitching in a good 12 points. But Spider, only had one good game since he been
That's true.
It was Atlantic City. So they still working them into the system and trying to figure things out. Right now, Baltimore is not in the figuring out stage right now. They already got things figured out right now. They already got things they've been planning to do right now. They've been working on something right now as we speaking. So I just don't see right at this time that Atlantic City could beat Baltimore.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go ahead and agree with that here. I thought Atlantic City was gonna be even more of a contender once they traded for Ricky Spider. But Atlantic City has let me down in so many ways this season. I mean, even that game that they lost a couple of weeks ago against, I believe, Portland, where they lost 94-100 against them, and then just looking at like the teams who they faced this season. I mean, they lost to Seattle. They've lost to Portland. They lost to Kentucky. I mean, they've lost to some quality teams. So Atlantic City's strength
when
of
you
schedule
saying
is
that,
pretty good to me.
okay, how bad did they lose against those teams?
Let's see. It was close. It was close though. So they lost to Seattle by only 4. They lost to Portland by 6. They lost to Kentucky by 10. They lost to Ohio by 10. They lost to us by 7. They've lost. They beat Baltimore that first time, and then they beat New York the first time. So it's about a 10 game. It's about a 10 points they lose each game. Just about. I'll average that out and say maybe like almost 7 a game they lose by maybe.
So basically, they're in every game, so they'll give you a fight, but they won't give you the finish.
Yeah, they start strong, but they don't finish strong. So, with that being said, I think I'm gonna have to take Baltimore on that one. I don't think that Atlantic City has what it takes to take it to Baltimore. So
Fair enough.
that's my prediction. All right, so moving forward, that Wednesday we got a 7:30 game. We got the Stampede versus the Bees at 7:30 that Wednesday. I'm gonna start this off easy. It's gonna be easy. San Antonio's gonna win. Ethan Letterman's gonna have at least 25 in that game. And let's take it away, man.
Okay, you made that short and sweet. I'm gonna make this, this short story a little bit longer. I am gonna take San Antonio this game, only for the simple fact, when a team is called the Killer Bees and they're playing like the Honey Bees, I believe they're gonna get stampede on.
Oh
So,
man.
you got the 3-point champion in Tez Green, and I think Tez Green just got a little bit more confidence headed his way. And like you said, Ethan Letterman by itself, coming off the bench giving you 25.
Exactly.
So
I like what somebody said in the chat. This is a game Letterman should start, but he won't.
I do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think, they got Eagles, that right there stand by. You got Tez that been there since day one. You got Ethan been there since season 2. Vet. So yeah, this is gonna be some Eagles right there. But yeah, I just don't see the honeybees. I mean, killer bees doing anything to them right now. So San Antonio it is.
All right, gamers.
Oh, this is a hard one for me because I've been talking to Glass. They're figuring things out. They got the new coach in. Just talking to him, they've got something cooking. I would not be surprised to see them come out and win this game. On paper, I think San Antonio has the nod with their shooters, but I mean, all of these teams have weapons that just don't seem like they've been utilized enough. And we talk about San Antonio not using Ethan Letterman nearly as much as he should be. He was on the block. I think he might still be on the trade block. And quite honestly, this could potentially be a game they don't have him. He might be traded by the end of tonight, today, tomorrow, type of thing, because he's been on the block. But talking with Glass has opened my eyes, very similar to how we had KT on the show last week when she was talking about them getting back into doing things a certain way. And Raymond, we've talked about what Michigan used to be,
right?
And I quietly, with the confidence, believe that they're going to be getting back to that once they turn their game plan in for this week. So I'm gonna go with Michigan. They got something cooking over there, and they're really excited to show everybody. I think a completely different look than what they've been showing all year. So we shall see. It's one of those games. It will be a good game. I think Michigan will get this one because I don't think San Antonio, we talk about it. San Antonio doesn't really adjust their game plan a whole lot, it seems like, and they might not be prepared for what Michigan is cooking. So.
Yeah, remember you talked to Biff last week too. Now.
Yeah, that's true. We talked to Biff, and Biff says he does not get into the coaching at all one bit. He lets them do their thing. Yep. Because I wanted to ask Biff straight up, why is Letterman not starting, or at least why is he not closing out games? It's like he gets hot, and no matter what, he comes out at like that 5-minute mark in the fourth quarter and never to be come back in again. It doesn't make sense. When you have a player like Letterman who can do so much offensively, you should ride him in the closing lineup, let him close out the game. And I mean, they're a team that should have way more wins than they have, in my opinion.
That is true. That is true. Like, why isn't Ethan playing at small forward? Why can't you shift to the small forward? Or something. Long as he in the lineup, he becomes a matchup issue.
He becomes a matchup problem for whoever is guarding him. and they should be milking that, like a prize cow. They should be doing everything they can to get, they should start using that philosophy that we had last season as the best player, and the philosophy we have this season. The same thing is best players will play. We will figure out a way to get you on the court, whether you're playing out of position or you're playing, completely different, something completely different than what you're used to playing. But we gotta figure out a way to win games. We're gonna try. We're gonna die trying. We're not gonna give up. So I don't know if San Antonio is giving up. They don't have confidence in Ethan or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, but we had to, like, going into last year, I had to take all of my basketball knowledge. I had to put it aside. I had this. You can't look at players as a position. You can't look at players as a type. You have to throw it all aside and just look at what you have and figure out how to make it work. You can't just say, oh well, this guy's 6'10", so he's got to be a forward. No, he might be a LeBron James, Giannis type of guard or something that you need to come in and you
Right.
got to figure out how to make it work.
Right.
So um, like I said though, quiet, confidently, I think Michigan's got something brewing, and I don't want to allude too much. I don't want to give away their game plan, but I think it's going to look mimic some of the things that New Orleans did to San Antonio earlier this season.
Mm.
So,
Oh man.
so I'm not going to say too much. It's
Man.
not on paper. It's not out there yet. I just wanted y'all to hear it here first. Martian exclusive. Mission to Mars Martian exclusive. So, but Raymond knows what I'm talking about now. And Ingram
I
knows what I'm
do
talking
know what you're talking about.
Okay. So
I'm about to go back to that game and watch now.
I love both of these
See,
teams.
but I didn't think of that when I picked. I did not think about that.
But that's why I gave my
once
whole
you said
speech.
it opened up my eyes.
That's why I gave my whole speech, because everyone is thinking of a certain type of Michigan. Yes, the Michigan Honeybees that have been disgracing the court of Michigan too long this season. But I had a talk with Glass. I had a heart to heart with Glass, and I said, you know what, man, y'all need to figure out your strengths and roll with that. Stop trying to just, I don't know, just throw things out there just to throw things out there. Y'all know what y'all have. Don't let anybody else in the league convince you otherwise. And I think the light bulb's went off, and I think they're cooking up something that is going to shock a lot of people. And I know what they'll say if they do beat San Antonio. Well, they'll say, "Oh, it was San Antonio." San Antonio is a good team.
Yeah.
You just confirmed San Antonio should not have the record that they have. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. But we love both of those teams here. I love Michigan. I love San Antonio. We love Biff. We're all Biff supporters.
Yeah.
Biff is still rocking the headband I got him last season.
Hey, shout out to Biff for making an All-Star team last night too, as well, man. He played great last night as well.
He said earlier he had 4 blocks, and I remember they were very impressive, loud blocks. He sent it.
Yeah. But moving on to the night game for Wednesday, we got the Boston Militia against
New York.
Nope, not New York. No, we tired of that. No more. Boston, New York 3.
They want New York for the rest of the season.
Right?
They wish, but instead they got a hot team in the Kentucky Reserve, going against Boston at 9:30 game that Wednesday. Who y'all got? We're gonna start with you, gamers.
Hey, I've been the contrarian for too many of these predictions. I'm going Kentucky, but I will give my props to Boston. We love Kentucky around here as much as they like to pretend like nobody respects them. But you do start looking at some of these games and you start saying, Kentucky only beat this team by 8 points. Kentucky only beat this team by 7 points. Kentucky only beat this team by 15 points. I think Kentucky wins this game, but I think there are going to be moments that we're going to be saying, damn, Boston, that these last 2-3 weeks weren't flukes. Boston has figured out something, And kind of like you were saying about Baltimore, right, man, is if Boston, it feels like they have figured out their system. That now all they're doing is having to tweak around what they have figured out, and they know for a fact that they have Dex Matty, and they know for a fact they have Greg Powers and Demore, and they know for a fact that Brum James is averaging 13 points a night. So you got something there. Nah, Kentucky, whew, that's a different breed. That's one of those lions you were talking about. But don't be surprised if there are moments where it's like, man, Boston is cooking with something.
Right.
But I still think, yeah, okay, Kentucky. I know the point differential. I get it, y'all. But I'm just saying, a lot of these games are close.
Well, I think you're gonna have some interesting matchups here. You got Mike Miller against Dom Hardaway. That's gonna be a good one. Then you got Kobe going against Dex Matty. That's gonna be a battle. You got Brum James versus Josh Young 2.0. That's gonna be a battle. Both of these, all those matchups is gonna be a battle. But Kentucky is just too hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Boston, like I said, they're on a 3-game win streak, but 2 of those games is against New York. So, I mean, if Boston somehow wins this game, then that would let me know that this 3-game streak they're on isn't a fluke. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening. So I'm gonna take Kentucky in this
Uh-oh. So
Mm.
politicking calling me out. Where all these close games come from? Okay. So
one.
you want to do this to me? Let's break down Kentucky's schedule real quick.
Let's
They've played New
let's
York, Michigan, Virginia, Atlantic City, San Antonio, Vice City, and Ohio. Do I really need to say more? Okay, you may continue, Raymond.
All right, so it's time for me to play the devil's advocate right here.
Uh-oh.
You know, R. Kelly was stuck in the closet for a while. I'm not stuck in the closet to say what I want to say. I figure it's a trap game. And this is what I call the trap game right here for Kentucky coming in.
We played the teams. I'm listening.
I'm going to go with Boston on this one.
Whoa.
I believe this game gonna come down to the inside. Who get the most rebounds? Who's out rebounding somebody? What bigs is putting on what points in this game? We know we're gonna get about a dime. We know we're gonna get about a Kobe. We know we're gonna get about a who I'm looking at, Melo, Yep Chisholm, Brom James. We know we're gonna get out of these guys, but it's gonna be the bigs right now that I'm gonna focus on. What you're gonna get up out of Demora. If Demora is gonna step up and give you 10 and 16 rebounds, it's Bo Mamba is gonna out rebound Demora and not let Demora just beast him in the rebound department. So I am definitely going with Boston on this one.
That's a scary pick, my friend.
That is a scary.
That's a scary
It's a trap game. Boston is on a mission.
I agree.
Boston is on a mission right now. Kentucky honestly don't got nothing to prove.
Well, right, and this is one of those situations where Kentucky feels like they've got this one cooked. They are the most humble team in the GSB, but for some reason, when teams play expansion teams, they just think, "Oh man, this is Boston." Virginia, I understand, but like you said, Raymond, Boston is on a
I almost
streak
spit out
right
my
now.
water when you said
This
that.
is a classic trap game coming out of the All-Star break. Got to knock that rust off. Luckily Kentucky had the All-Star break at home, so they got to sleep in their own beds and eat home cooked meals. But this could be I like what you said, Raymond. This could be a trap game for them. They for some reason it feels like this might be the first time all season that Kentucky is overlooking their opponent. And
Yeah,
that is
I'm talking about they
always
really could be tested right now.
that is
When you just basically set out the schedule, who the teams they played, how many of those teams got winning records?
let's see.
See, New York doesn't
Tabulating.
have one.
None
Michigan
of
doesn't
them,
have one. Virginia,
except for
Atlantic City,
Ohio.
San Antonio.
Um,
Yep, the only team that has a winning record is Ohio. Yeah.
Ohio. Oh, yeah.
And then
So
if you
when you
look
come
at
to talking about a battle tested team, can we
Mhm.
can we consider right now that Kentucky's actually battle tested?
Oh man,
that, you know
I
what?
like where this is
You do
going.
make a
I like
point
where this
because they
conversation
do
is
got to go
going.
against Baltimore. They got to go against Dallas. They got to go against New Orleans, and they got to go against Ohio. And
Right?
they've
That's
lost
a tough
one.
schedule. That's a tough
That,
stretch.
that's a tough
And
schedule.
And that's when
And
we'll really know what
let's see.
Kentucky's going to be about because all the teams they got to play besides, really Boston.
mm,
But the teams down the stretch, all of them got winning records. All of them are contenders.
right?
That's a good point.
So if they handle all the contenders going down the stretch, they possibly going to handle all the contenders in the playoffs.
That's true.
You know
That's
what, Rain Man? You just gave me a new leash on life. I almost want to change my pick for who gonna win that game now because you make a very good point. Man,
I'm just calling it like I see it right now.
man. Yeah, so
But no, I agree with Rain Man. I'm looking at the stats right now. Boston is averaging 30.4 rebounds per game. Kentucky is averaging 34.6 rebounds per game. Boston is averaging 23 assists per game. Kentucky's averaging 21.3 assists per game. 2-point percentage, 54% for Boston, 56% for Kentucky. 3-point percentage, 49% for Boston, 49% for Kentucky. The difference in this game will be the defense, who can stop who, and as you said, Raymond, that big man play. And I think right now Boston is cooking with fire. I'm still going with Kentucky. I like them too much, but this is a classic trap game where it really does feel like Boston has figured out something. And they can see a situation where they can backdoor into the playoffs because of their schedule. It's not nice, but they get to prove every game that they play that they belong in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and you got to think they're not too far off of Baltimore neither.
Right. And I told Baltimore that in the chat, and Riggins, he likes to talk trash and all kinds of stuff. But I said, hey, y'all got to go against Boston. Boston is going against Atlantic City, and then they go against Ohio and Albuquerque, and that's a tough slate for Boston. But like you said, you put a team that's got a fire, and you put them in a situation where they have to run the table, and they already feel like they're on a dream run. I wouldn't be surprised if Boston gets a couple of wins that they shouldn't. So Kentucky, y'all are getting them first out of this crazy break.
yeah,
Bro said we were supposed to be 5-7. Stop it, stop it, Kentucky. Stop playing the victim. Stop it.
You know what, Kentucky? Please report to the booth right now.
Yeah, come on, because
who
you
that?
gotta stop, man.
Kobe. Somebody send Kobe the link to the Martian server and I need him to report to the booth right now to explain this to me right
now. Folks want to know. I'm saying this is something not to hide right now. 5-7, that's a stretch.
I mean, Kentucky's a really good team, y'all. And you have a good team when you beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and you do it consistently. And that's been Kentucky's biggest thing is their consistency. But Raymond, as you said, they haven't had that marquee victory yet over a team that has that pulse,
Right.
that's fighting for
that hunger.
A shot, that hunger to say, I
Yeah.
don't just want to beat you, I want to embarrass you. They haven't played against one of those teams just yet.
They
Ohio
haven't.
wants to beat them, but not embarrass them. Because I don't think Ohio really knows how good they are this season as well either. It's just one of those type of situations. But I'm sticking with my pick. But get Kentucky in the booth next week after this game. See if they're still talking the same jazz.
I agree. We got to get at least somebody in the booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun talking to Dime. Dime was great. That was great.
Oh man. All right. Well, moving to the next day, we're gonna discuss this next day slate of games here. And then I got something else here for us to do. But next day, we got Thursday night. We got the Riders and the Canes battling it out. So gamers, we're gonna start with you on this one.
Um, Riders, not even to be biased, this is a good matchup for y'all. Um, Vice City is relying a little bit too much on their forwards, in my opinion, but they're being very balanced with their forward play. I think Riders, you guys have the better guard play and the better game planning ideology given what happened last week. I know that y'all looked at the tape, you know that y'all made fixes, tweaks, and Vice City is a good team. They just don't have the scoring power from that guard position that you know that we had. That I mean, um, so I'm going Riders with this. I think in the comparable positions, I think the Riders still have the edge. You got Swoosh, you know, you got Gaucher, like I said, Madley already. Cameron Best is looking great these last couple of weeks. Scooby Lewis off the bench, like Gaucher was saying, is having statistically one of his better years. There's firepower there. And you know, when you get a team like Vice City kind of in a bond where they have to shoot, they have to score when they're a slashing team and you lock down the paint, they have, I mean, you know, and we saw that in our game against them, is they can make some shots. You know, Zima Blue, you know, who else do they have? King James. I mean, they can make some shots from different positions. But if you put Pedraza in a bind, Biff Markham was saying, I don't know if Swoosh can keep up with Pedraza. It's one of those things though where you don't really have to keep up with Pedraza because of how slow their offense goes. As I'm
Right.
saying they don't really, you know, like if it were Seattle or Baltimore where they're doing those alley-oop lobs all game, yeah, that could be problematic. But they're gonna try and pass the ball down to Pedraza or give it to him at the 3-point line, get him a pick and roll, let him try to drive, and you're gonna have someone right there edge and ice that out. I think New Orleans can take away too much of what. I guess I'll do it backwards. I think New Orleans can take away too much of what Vice City can do, and Vice City can't take away enough of what New Orleans can do because New Orleans has you got a 3-level scorer in Gaucher. You got Madley who can give you double-digit assists, which keeps the whole offense and whole operation running. Swoosh can give you inside game. He can step back, give you, you know, those fadeaway mid-range shots, middies. He can also shoot the three, as you saw him do plenty of times this season and last year in Albuquerque. Um, and then, like you said, you have the second unit with Scooby Lewis running the show, who can get you a bucket. Um, but if Vice City goes protect the paint, then New Orleans is just going to shoot on them all day long. They have shooters, and
Right.
if Vice City protects the perimeter, then New Orleans is just going to go inside and beat you, you know, all around. You know, slash, go shake and slash. He doesn't have to, but he can. Like, I just it's a good matchup in my opinion for New Orleans because of what y'all can do and what Vice City might be a little bit more reluctant to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, Biff. I do think it'll be a close game, but I know that Nolan wants to get the taste of, you know, last week out of their mouth. And they're celebrating, you know, the All-Star weekend, and they're happy for Gaucher. But they're a very mission-based, objective team. They were working this week. I know that for a fact. They
Yeah.
were working, and they want nothing better to come out of this week and put on the show and